Namaste. Welcome back, Stellar Stargazers, and a warm cosmic hello to our new listeners. I'm Sophie.
And I'm Heather, and you're tuning into the Stellar Soulcast, where we decode the cosmos one episode at a time. In our last episode, we explored moon mysteries and monsters, from eerie lunar legends to spooky folklore. We uncovered how the moon has long been tied to hauntings, transformations, and supernatural happenings.
But today, Stargazers, we're keeping the Halloween magic alive for our October Spooky Season Special series. We are doing another lunar deep dive, but this time we will focus on the moon rituals. We're not Wiccan practitioners ourselves, but we are curious storytellers ready to walk with you through the history, lore, and ways real witches and magical communities across time have honored the moon.
From ancient goddesses and fertility rites to medieval witch hunts and modern Wiccan traditions, the moon has always been the heartbeat of ritual. So grab your astro journals, light a candle if you dare, and let's peel back the veil of lunar magic through the ages.
All right, Stargazers, before we dive into the cauldrons and candles of witchy history, let's start with the moon itself, our planet's oldest ritual clock. Long before calendars or clocks existed, the moon guided humanity. Her waxing and waning shaped the tides, marked planting of crops, and mirrored the rhythms of birth, life, and death. Every ancient civilization looked up at her silvery glow and saw not just light, but meaning. The moon's steady cycle became the heartbeat of early societies. She rose and fell like breath, and people believed she carried the power to influence fertility, emotion, and even destiny. Over time, the rhythm turned sacred. Priestesses, farmers, and healers began timing ceremonies to her phases, believing her glow bridged the physical and the divine. Across cultures, the moon was never viewed as an object. She was a living, divine force. She had names, faces, and moods, even one reflecting how different civilizations understood her magic. And when we talk about witches, warlocks, and priestesses, and ritual, we're really tracing those roots back to the ancient deities who embodied her power. Gods and goddesses who ruled the night sky, protected the thresholds between worlds, and taught early humanity the rhythm of the sacred.
Love the brief overview, Sophie. Knowing the historical context is always crucial to understanding the world around us. Let's kick off our moon deities by first traveling to the world of ancient Greece. In Greek mythology, three powerful figures embodied the moon's many phases. We have Selene, Artemis, and Hecate. And if you remembered from our last episode, we did review all of these very briefly. We're just going to go into a little bit more detail here. Well, Selene was a titan who was personified as the moon herself. She was depicted as a luminous goddess titan who drove a silver chariot across the night sky, bathing the world in her light. She symbolized illumination and consistency, the watchful eye of the heavens, and reflects the rhythm of the divine. Then there's Artemis, the wild huntress and protector of women and animals. Her bow was believed to personify a crescent moon. She was fiercely independent. She ruled the untamed forest and mountains, her moon glowing bright over nature's raw beauty. Artemis represented the instinctual and liberated side of lunar power, which was wild, free, and alive. And finally, Hecate, goddess of witchcraft, crossroads, and necromancy, personified the underworld phases of the moon. She governed thresholds, or in other words, the spaces between worlds, between life and death, as well as between light and dark. Her torches were said to guide lost souls through the shadow realms, making her one of the earliest archetypes of the wise crone and guardian of hidden knowledge. As we mentioned, like I just said in our previous episode, the ancient Greeks never officially grouped these goddesses together, but rather it is modern pagan symbolism that weaves their stories into one powerful cycle known as the maiden, the mother, and the crone, or the three faces of the moon. Artemis becomes the waxing moon maiden, Selene the radiant full moon mother, and Hecate the waning or dark moon crone. Together, they mirror the moon's eternal rhythm of youth, power, and wisdom, an unending dance of light, shadow, and rebirth.
Beautifully said, Heather. The Greek pantheon gave us some of the most enduring lunar archetypes, but as mythology traveled westward, those stories didn't fade. They evolved. When Greek myth crossed into Rome, the goddesses took on new names, new temples, and new traditions. Yet their magic remained unmistakably lunar. The Greek Selene became Luna, a radiant goddess whose worship stretched across Roman Empire. Temples dedicated to Luna stood tall on the Aventine Hill. Here priestesses timed their rituals to the exact moment of the moon's fullness. To the Romans, her silver light wasn't just beautiful, it was influential. They believed Luna governed fertility, harvests, and even the emotional tides of humanity. But no lunar story in Rome would be complete without Diana, the huntress goddess who came to embody freedom, nature, and feminine strength, much like her Greek counterpart, Artemis. Diana roamed forests and mountaintops under moon's glow, and her bow drawn with precision and purpose. Yet in Roman spirituality, her power extended far beyond the hunt. She became a symbol of protection for women and the marginalized, a reminder that independence and compassion coexist in divine form. Over time, Diana's legacy continued to evolve, finding new life with Italian-American folklore tradition known as Stregorea, the Neopagan form of witchcraft rooted in old Italian folklore, ancient Etruscan beliefs, and mythos of pre-Christian witchcraft centers on the reverence of nature and the rhythms of the moon. Within this tradition, Diana is still honored as a powerful lunar and divine mother figure, but Aradia, said to be her daughter with Lucifero, who holds the title of Queen of Witches. According to legend, Aradia was sent to Earth to teach the oppressed the sacred arts of witchcraft and the magic of liberation. Her story, popularized by Charles Godfrey Leland's Aradia, or the Gospel of the Witches in 1899, transformed her into a symbol of empowerment, rebellion, and spiritual wisdom. Aradia represents the enduring threads between ancient lunar devotion, divine femininity, and reclaiming of witchcraft as a sacred practice. So through Luna and Diana, the Romans carried forward the sacred truth that the moon was not merely a light in the night sky, but a living force that shaped destiny. Her cycles reflected humanity's own growing, peaking, fading, and returning, a timeless reminder that every ending carries the seed of renewal.
All right, Sophie, thank you for that wonderful and beautiful recap.
You're welcome.
Aww. And although Luna, Diana, and Aradia showed us how the moon's mystique carried through the Mediterranean, but the reverence didn't end there. Let's continue to journey north into the misty lands of the Celts, where the moon is now linked with different deities, new stories, and new faces among the goddesses of Wales and Ireland. One of the most radiant was Erenrod, whose name in Welsh translates to silver wheel. She emerged from the mythology of Wales, one of the central figures in the Mabinogion, a collection of medieval Welsh tales that preserve some of the oldest Celtic spiritual traditions. Erenrod ruled over fate, rebirth, and the starry heavens. Her silver wheel represented the celestial cycles of life, birth, death, and renewal, mirroring the phases of the moon itself. She was believed to weave the tapestry of destiny from her home in the sky, Cara Erenrod, a fortress of stars thought to correspond to the Corona Borealis constellation. Through Erenrod, the moon wasn't merely a source of light. It was time itself, the cosmic wheel that turns without end. Her story embodies the Celtic view of existence as cyclical, ever-shifting, and interconnected, a philosophy still honored today in many modern pagan and druidic practices. Those who work with Erenrod often invoke her during full moons for guidance in transitions, rebirth, or spiritual renewal. But Erenrod wasn't the only Celtic goddess connected to the moon's glow. In Irish mythology, we find Anya, a radiant goddess of love, fertility, and summer. Her name, meaning bright, radiant, or glowing, perfectly captures her dual nature as both a solar and lunar goddess. She embodies light in all its forms, from the golden rays of the midsummer sun to the silver shimmer of the full moon. Anya connections to the moon appears in Irish folklore that ties her to the full moon, symbolizing ripeness, fertility, and illumination. She was often celebrated during midsummer festivals that honored both the sun and the moon, the balance of warmth and shadow, growth and rest. The duality reflects a broader Celtic pattern where goddesses were interwoven, bridging celestial bodies and natural forces. Together, these goddesses, Erenrod and Anya, reflect how Celtic and Irish cultures preserved the moon not merely as a celestial body, but as a living rhythm guiding both the natural and spiritual worlds. Each embodied a facet of lunar energy. Erenrod, the silver wheel, weaving fate and renewal among the stars, and Anya, the radiant goddess of brightness and fertility, bridging the warmth of the sun with the mystery of the moon. In modern pagan and Celtic-inspired practices, both deities are still honored during seasonal festivals such as Samhain and Imbolc, when the moon's phases mark transformation and rebirth. Devotees may call upon Erenrod for new beginnings and spiritual transitions, and Anya for creativity, fertility, and harmony with the cycles of nature. Through these myths and the rituals they continue to inspire, the moon remains what she has always been, a divine compass of transformation. Whether gleaming over the ancient Welsh shores or the emerald hills of Ireland, her silver wheel still turns, reminding us that every ending is simply the beginning of another cycle. The Celts saw the moon as a living rhythm, a divine guide through birth, growth, and renewal. But beyond marking the time, the moon has always seen as a gateway, a shimmering veil between the worlds. As her light waxed and waned, so did the boundary between the physical and the spiritual. So, stargazers, let's journey deeper into the mystery and explore how the moon became the ultimate threshold between realms, the meeting point of magic, spirit, and the unseen.
Yes. Now that we have met some goddesses who gave the moon her magic, let's follow her light through history, because while myths tell us who she was, human ritual to the moon's phases tell us how people lived with her. The moon didn't just light our night sky. She moves through a repeating cycle every 29 and a half days, constantly shifting her appearance and her energy. To ancient civilizations, this wasn't astronomy, it was divine storytelling. Each phase represented a chapter in life's eternal cycle: birth, growth, fullness, release, and rebirth. For thousands of years, farmers, healers, and mystics alike watched this pattern and built their rituals around it. The phases of the moon were both a celestial calendar and a spiritual compass, marking when to plant, when to heal, and when to celebrate. Also, when to rest. Let's explore each phase and its lore, and how it shaped ritual, magic, and meaning through time. The new moon marks the very start of the lunar cycle, when the sky is dark and the moon hides her face from view. To the ancients, the darkness wasn't emptiness, it was potential, a sacred pause before creation. In early agricultural societies, the new moon symbolized the planting of seeds, both literal and spiritual. Farmers waited for this moment to sow crops, believing that the hidden moon pulled moisture upward from the earth, nurturing new life beneath the soil. Spiritually, This was the phase of renewal and intention setting. Ancient priestesses would hold quiet ceremonies during new moons to set prayers for the month ahead, while modern practitioners often use this time to journal, visualize, and meditate on new goals. In folklore, the new moon was also believed to be a moment of protection. When the darkness provided cover for new beginnings, it's the cosmic inhale before the journey begins. As the moon begins to show her first sliver of light, the waxing crescent, energy builds. This phase symbolizes growth, expansion, and attraction. What was planted in the darkness starts to take form. In ancient times, healers crafted herbal remedies and potions under the waxing moon, believing that the growing light infused them with vitality. It was also a time for fertility rites and ceremonies celebrating new ventures, partnerships, and creative purpose. Many folk traditions held that the waxing moon favored actions meant to draw in love, abundance, or health, whether it was setting out charms, crafting spells of attraction, or even beginning a journey. This phase was seen as the moment to build momentum. In a symbolic sense, the waxing moon reminds us to nurture what we've begun, to take tangible steps towards growth while the light strengthens. Now, let's talk about the new moon's opposite, the full moon. The moment when the moon is at her brightest, glowing in full glory across the night sky. Throughout history, this phase has carried both awe and fear, and her power seemed almost otherworldly. For ancient people, the full moon was a time of illumination and revelation. The fields were lit for harvest, the tides swelled, and nocturnal rituals flourished. In many pagan traditions, the full moon was a communal gathering and celebrations were held. What modern Wiccans call Esbats. It's said that witches gathered under the full moon to honor the goddess, perform divination, or recharge tools and crystals in her light. The heightened visibility and energy symbolize manifestation and culmination, the peaks of power before release. Folk healers also recognize the moon's physical pull. They observed the wounds bled more freely and sleep grew restless during full moons. Even today, hospitals report busier nights during this phase. In folklore, this was the phase of truth and transformation, where the hidden becomes seen. Under her light, mysteries were revealed, both within and without. After reaching her peak, the moon begins to wane slowly, retracting into the shadow. To early observers, this wasn't loss. It was letting go. The waning moon became a symbol of release, cleansing, and reflection. In the villages of medieval Europe, people would use this phase to purify their homes, burn old herbs, and close out cycles. Spiritually, the waning moon invites rest. It's the exhale after the build, the pause before renewal. Modern spiritualists often use this period for cord-cutting rituals, journaling closure, or quiet self-care. Throughout history, the moon's phases served as universal language of balance and time. Farmers planted by her light, healers brewed potions by her pull, and witches and priestesses synchronize their craft to her rhythm. The waxing moon represents birth and growth. The waning moon, release and renewal, a perfect reflection of the natural world's endless ebb and flow. Even today, the concept of moon mapping, aligning one's personal goals or emotions with the lunar cycle, echoes the ancient understanding. Whether lighting a candle under the new moon, celebrating a full moon with friends, or simply noticing how her phases affect your energy, you're practicing in a lineage as old as humanity itself. Because stargazers, the moon has never stopped teaching us that every phase, every rise and fall carries its own magic. She reminds us that change is not an ending, but the very rhythm of life.
Oh, beautiful. Rhythms. Now that we've explored the rhythm of the moon and how each phase carries its own unique energy, let's turn our gaze to the people who followed her light, the healers, priestesses, and witches, who shaped their lives and rituals around her cycles throughout history. Just like the moon waxes and wanes, the story of witchcraft was cycled through history, rising in reverence, fading into fear, and glowing once more in empowerment. Since ancient times, the moon's phases have been humanity's earliest calendar, a sacred clock that governed planting, birth, healing, and death. In the earliest pagan and agricultural societies, the moon wasn't just a backup to ritual, she was the ritual. Her waxing and waning told communities when to sow seeds, when to harvest, and when to rest. The new moon marked beginnings in fertility ceremonies, while the full moon became a time for celebration, gratitude, and spiritual connection. Across cultures, villagers and priestesses alike gathered under her light to honor the divine balance of life and time. These gatherings weren't necessarily witchcraft in the modern sense. They were acts of reverence and rhythm. Bonfires were lit on high hills to celebrate the full moon's power. Herbs were picked by moonlight for their charged potency, and chants were whispered in sync with the cycles of nature. The moon was believed to infuse every living thing with vitality. She was a healer, a guide, and keeper of mystery, all in one. Let's take a brief walk through history and explore witchcraft and moon rituals, focusing specifically on the Western perspective. Our start on this timeline is medieval Europe. As centuries passed and Christianity spread through Europe, those ancient moon-centered traditions didn't vanish, rather they adapted. Beneath the surface of religious conformity, folk healers and herbalists, often women known as cunning folk or wise women, quietly preserved the old lunar wisdom. These practitioners timed their remedies and spells by the moon. They would cut herbs during the waxing moon to harness growth and vitality, and perform cleansing rituals or protection charms during the waning moon to banish illness or misfortune. In many small villages, the local witch wasn't feared. She was the midwife, the herbalist, the one who knew which plants bloomed under which phase of light. But as fear and suspicion grew, that same knowledge became dangerous. The very cycles that once represented balance and fertility began to be seen as suspicious, especially when women practiced them independently of church authority. By the late Middle Ages and into the Renaissance, the word witch had shifted from healer to heretic. The moon, once a sacred companion, became a silent witness to persecution. Accusations of witchcraft often carried lunar imagery, midnight meetings, secret rites, and women gathering beneath the full moon, all twisted into tales of demonic worship. During the European witch hunts of the 15th to 17th centuries, tens of thousands of people, mostly women, were tried, tortured, and executed under suspicion of sorcery. Many of these crimes were simply folk practices tied to the rhythms of nature, blessing livestock, brewing healing tonics, or performing fertility rites during specific moon phases. What had once been seen as harmony with the earth was rebranded as rebellion against divine order. Even the language surrounding the moon grew darker. The term lunatic, from luna, meaning moon, reflected the belief that the moon's influence could drive people to madness. Her power, once divine, became feared and distorted. But, as all cycles go, what wanes eventually waxes again. By the 19th and 20th centuries, as scholars, folklorists, and spiritual seekers began revisiting old traditions, the moon's sacred role in ritual found new light. The rise of Wicca in the mid-20th century marked a true revival of lunar magic. In Wiccan and Neopagan traditions, the full moon, known as an Esbat, became a central time for gathering, reflection, and honoring the goddess, a symbolic merging of ancient practices with modern spirituality. Practitioners once again began tracking the moon's cycles, performing rituals to set intentions, release burdens, or simply connect with nature's rhythm. What's beautiful is how these modern circles echo their ancient counterparts. The bonfires, the chants, and shared moonlit rituals may look different today, but this intention is the same, to reconnect with the divine through the natural world. Even beyond spiritual practice, we see the moon's revival in everyday life. People journal their emotions by lunar phases, make moon water under the full moon for cleansing, and use her symbolism in meditation as well as art. The modern world may be more digital than divine, but the moon's pull on our bodies, the tides, and imaginations remains irresistible. So when we talk about witchcraft through history, we're really tracing humanity's evolving relationship with the moon, from sacred to feared and back again to sacred. Her light has witnessed it all, the reverence of the ancients, the silence of persecution, and the rediscovery of empowerment. Through it all, she remains constant, waxing and waning, vanishing and returning, just like the people who have always turned to her for guidance. Whether through the hands of ancient priestesses, medieval healers, or modern-day mystics, the moon continues to be our oldest and most loyal mirror, reflecting the light we're all still learning to honor within ourselves.
From the sacred fires of the ancients to the fear-fueled trials of the Middle Ages, humanity's relationship with the moon has mirrored her own cycles, fading into shadow only to rise again. And now, in our modern age, her light shines differently. The rituals once practiced in secret have reemerged in new forms, blending ancient wisdoms with modern spirituality. Let's step into the present and explore how today's practitioners, mystics, and seekers continue to honor the moon, not through fear or superstition, but through healing, mindfulness, and empowerment. The modern revival of witchcraft began in the 20th century, sparked largely by the emergence of Wicca by Gerald Gardner in the 1950s. Gardner, often considered to be the founder of Wicca, drew inspiration from pre-Christian paganism, folk magic, and ceremonial traditions, weaving them into spiritual system that celebrated nature's cycle, especially the moon. In Wicca, lunar worship centers around Esbats, monthly rituals held during the full moon. These gatherings are moments to celebrate the goddess, reflect on personal growth, and harness the moon's heightened energy for magic and manifestation. A typical Esbat may include circle casting, where participants create a sacred energetic boundary symbolizing the circle of life. Candles are lit, invocations are spoken, and offerings of herbs, wine, or flowers are made to lunar deities. The moon's phase determines the ritual's focus. The new moon brings quiet meditation and intention setting. The full moon invites gratitude and release. The waning moon offers closure and reflection. These practices don't just connect people to the cosmos, they connect them to one another, recreating the communal energy that ancient lunar gatherings once embodied. While Wicca laid the groundwork, modern witchcraft has since branched into countless forms, each blending the ancient roots with personal spirituality. Some practitioners identify as eclectic witches, drawing from multiple traditions, Celtic, Egyptian, Greek, or indigenous, while others simply follow their intuition, crafting rituals that feel authentic to their own energy and beliefs. Social media has also helped rekindle interest in the moon's cycles, allowing people to share rituals, astrology insights, and collective ceremonies from all over the world. You don't have to be a witch or part of a coven. Lunar spirituality has become a personal practice, accessible to anyone seeking reflection, grounding, or intention. For some, it's journaling by candlelight, For others, it's meditating under the full moon or creating moon water, placing a jar of water under the moon's glow to charge it with symbolic energy for cleansing or meditation. Many of these practices echo ancient rituals, but also express through modern wellness, aligning with mindfulness, energy healing, and the broader movement towards spiritual self-care. In today's world, moon rituals have become an intersection of spirituality, wellness, and community. People gather for full moon circles not only to set intentions, but to release, connect, and find shared meaning in a world that often feels disconnected. These modern rituals often include guided meditation to align with the moon energy, sound baths using crystal bowls tuned to lunar frequencies, journaling prompts for emotional release or gratitude, group affirmations or chanting to honor unity and healing. Whether you're lighting a candle, cleansing crystals, or simply standing outside beneath her light, it's an act of remembrance, a way of saying I am part of something larger. Modern moon rituals reflect a powerful shift in consciousness. They're no longer about controlling the unseen, but about connecting with it, honoring energy, intuition, and the sacred within everyday life. It's wild to think that what once was branded as heresy has now become healing. The same moon that inspired fear in the Middle Ages now inspires mindfulness and empowerment today.
Exactly. And we've come full circle. From witch trials to wellness circles, humanity's relationship with the moon mirrors her own phases, periods of darkness followed by renewal, suppression followed by awakening. Today, when someone sets intentions under the new moon or releases emotional weight beneath the full moon, they're participating in a lineage that stretches back thousands of years, a lineage of connection, courage, and light. The moon reminds us that spirituality isn't about superstition. It's about rhythm, about honoring the cycles within ourselves, our lives, and the universe around us. And maybe that's why her magic endures. Because no matter how modern we become, we still look up and feel something ancient staring right back down.
And with the talk of cycles, it's time to move to this episode's next phase, soul homework. Woo! This week, we want you to bring a little lunar awareness into your everyday life. Take a moment to reflect on how the moon shows up for you personally, not just in the sky, but in your energy, emotions, and creativity. Do you notice shifts around the full moon? When everything feels illuminated and heightened? Maybe your dreams become more vivid, or your emotions feel closer to the surface. Or perhaps it's the new moon that resonates more. The quiet reset, where you crave stillness and introspection, or the urge to start something new. For this next lunar cycle, try to track your connection with the moon. Here are some tips. How? Step 1. Grab your moon journal we mentioned in episode 7 and note which moon phase we're in. You can use a moon app, a lunar calendar, or just step outside at night and look up. Step 2. Each night or every few days, jot down how you feel. Emotionally, mentally, and physically. Are you energized or tired? Reflective or creative? Social or withdrawn? And step 3, by the end of the month, look back over your notes. Do you notice patterns? Maybe you sleep less during the full moon, or feel extra inspired during the waxing phase. This exercise isn't about control, it's about connection. It's a reminder that, just like the tides, we move with the moon's rhythm, whether we realize it or not.
Well, stargazers, we hope this journey through the moon's magic, rituals, and history gave you a deeper appreciation for how she's guided humanity through cycles of mystery, fear, and renewal. From the ancient priestesses and Celtic goddesses to modern moon circles, her silver glow has always been our mirror, reflecting both the light we honor and the shadows we face. Next time, we're trading our candles for crime scenes as we dive into zodiac killers, astrology, and the darkness. Ooh. Why did I say it like that?
Tiptoe through the window.
I'm
like the creepy.
Oh.
And the willow tree. And tiptoe through the tulip. You know the song?
No.
You don't know that song?
Gosh.
I'll show you after.
Okay.
It's creepy.
Ooh. I don't know. It reminded me of the theme song from.
From? What's that?
Yeah. It's like, I guess you can call it a scary show. I don't know. I don't really like to watch a lot of like scary shows, but it's on MGM.
Oh.
And it's about a family that gets stuck in this town. And all these other people are from all over the country, and they get stuck in a town, and there's like these zombie things.
Ooh.
And at night, it's very fascinating.
I have to check it out.
Yeah, it's really good. Every year when it comes out, I pay for MGM on Prime so I can watch it. So we binge it for the month, and then I get rid of it. Yeah. But in our next episode, we'll explore infamous killers, unsettling astrological patterns, and whether the stars reveal dark truths, or if it's all just cosmic coincidence. Trust us, you won't want to miss this chilling chapter of our Halloween series. But before we say our stellar crush, I was trying to do something scary. Don't forget to hit subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you never miss a cosmic drop. Follow us on all our socials at the Stellar Soulcast for your daily astro inspo and spooky season updates. And share with us your favorite moon ritual or the way you connect with the lunar energy. We would love to hear how the moon moves through your life. But with that, we want to remind you all to keep reaching for the stars and trusting the vibes. Until next time, stargazers.